So welcome to Arapawa Blue Pearls. You are in for a real treat today. We're going to take you into my home, yes, my home, where I've made you some beautiful homemade baking and tea and coffee, and there's so much to talk about. So we're going to head on over to the house. Just follow me. Are you into gardening? Because if the garden is your cup of tea, you've got to check out these beautiful hydrangeas. So prolific around here. They love living right here next to the creek. And if you are into planting them, I can tell you some really good tips. All you got to do is actually just cut some cuttings and put them in soil. And hey presto, all you got to do is just keep them watered. Really easy to grow them. So you must give that a try. But anyways, we're going to show you more of my garden. Follow me. It's one of those things where you have to learn as you go, because that's how I learned about gardening. My mum taught me everything. She was such a special lady. You would have loved to have met her. She's something really unique. She had a lot of character about her, and whenever she planted something, she said, oh, just give it a go. So these plants here, the gorgeous pear tree, these were established here actually before we arrived. They are like over 100 years old. They have just finished dropping. So right now we have pears. They were all around the bottom. So these pear trees are so good. Not quite in flower right now, but if you look above you, these huge Pohutakawa trees, they are over 200 years old. They grow mainly on the North Island, but because Arapawa Island is actually slightly north of Wellington, we're sort of like in a banana belt, and our weather here is quite unique and obviously very good for Pohutakawa trees. If you were here in December, they would be all beautiful red. They're called like the New Zealand Christmas tree. They are very unique to New Zealand. So we're going to head on to the house where I've got the baking I was talking to you about. You might hear my mower if you can, excuse the noise, but these things happen. You might get to meet some of our family today, because we're a family business, and this was really a place where we grew, all the children grew up here. We did homeschooling, which is called correspondence school. And this was something that you have to be a routine person to do this kind of job. But our children all grew up here, did their whole preschool, homeschooling, right up to NCEA. So it's quite a job that you want to try and do in the morning, because I never ever really like doing school in the afternoon. I like being a mother. So come. Here are our Anzac. I'm very famous for the Anzac biscuit. They are basically a modern Anzac biscuit. Years ago, during the war, they would send these particular biscuits to guys in I think it was World War I, and they would just be a biscuit that could handle being sent and actually be super tasty even months later. So Anzac biscuits are basically a Australian New Zealand Army Corp, I believe. So I make those often. These are gorgeous, real chocolate peanut biscuits. Yeah, they're super tasty, and if you're into chocolate, they're a must. Remember I told you about my mum teaching me everything? Well, these are mince. We call them mince pies in New Zealand, but they're actually not made of meat or mince. These are like a Christmassy type of pastry that I make by hand, or the pastry. You can freeze them, and they're super delicious. My poppy seed muffins have cream cheese in the middle. Carrot cake is always a favourite in our family. Shortbread is very easy to make and super tasty, and the awesome coconut and chocolate slice is also another favorite for the chocolate lover. Below you might find, here we go, we've got the tough stuff, which is not tough at all. In fact, it's sweet as and very Moorish. You only want a little bit, but you probably want 3 pieces because it is delicious. It's ginger, chocolate and walnuts. And last but not least, we have the lemon brownie. Yes, and that's very sweet and delicious if you're into lemon. So tea or coffee? Oh, here's your cup of tea. Oh, look at that. Sorry, my son loves big cups of tea. So no, I'll get you a real cup of tea. So yes, as I told you, my mum was a great tea lover, and she actually knitted this little tea cozy. There you go. We're going to go and head over and show you the pearls here shortly. I'm going to grab my coffee. It's thirsty work talking to you, you know that. So, do you know what a paua is? Because a lot of people don't realise an abalone. I'll talk about them as an abalone today because paua is like the Maori word we use in New Zealand. An abalone is basically a sea snail, and it is not a mussel where it has 2 shells. It's like, or an oyster. An abalone is basically a snail that lives in the sea. It grows up in the shallows, the tide pools I'm talking about, and then as they grow, they actually, the big ones move out into the deeper waters. We're a hatchery, so we grow baby paua. And yeah, baby paua. And not many people have seen baby paua, and because these are like tiny little animals. So basically they start as a tiny little seed, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and they grow all the way out like this. So basically that's a small one, and as it grows it gets bigger and bigger, and can you see the lines? Kind of like a tree. As they get bigger, it takes basically around 4 to 5 years to get to at least 90 or 100 mil. And when they reach that size, we are ready to put a little insert in them because we're going to grow pearls. We grow Mabe cultured pearls. And these all take a long time to grow. People don't realize how long it takes. We didn't realize when Mike and I came here, one of the best places to grow abalone, we've been told is one of the best places is right here because of the Tory Channel. Where we live, the water really moves, and there's a lot of movement of water because of the current, and that current is really significant about the quality of water we get that pumps into our paua farm. Because after this, we're going to show you a video, and then you're going to go into the paua farm where you'll see them all growing. But that water is key to, I think, our success of being here. So back to where I was talking about the insert. So we'll slide an insert into the back of the shell. Now remember there's meat there, so we're going to slide a little insert. It's like a little irritant, and in the back of the shell is where they will remain. We try to put at least 3 inserts out of 1 shell, and our aim is to at least get 1 good pearl in about 4 or 5 years later. Remember, it takes 4 or 5 years to get to the size. Then we slide the insert in, and then we have to wait another 4 years before we can actually harvest the pearls. This little irritant in there is basically a special kind of nylon, and it's something that the abalone are very can cover completely, because you want them to cover the whole surface and have a success at that. So this is really an important part, is having something that the paua are happy with covering. Once they've been in there all those years, we can take them out and we cut them out with a diamond saw. Basically, we'll pull the meat out, and 4 or 5 years later, we have this beautiful pearl that we have no idea what colour they're going to be. It's kind of like opening a box of chocolates. You really don't know what you're going to get when you see. So we take the meat out, we'll take them up, and we do all the manufacturing here. And this is my Mike. This is basically his job. He manufactures all the pearls here that we grow. So with this, we cut them out with a diamond saw, and that little insert that we have placed in here, this comes away. And it's just like an irritant. So you're left with a hollow, and that in that hollow, we can thickness test all our pearls. We want really nice pearls, thick ones, to be good for rings. When we started this whole venture, we had no idea that Mike's little hobby was going to grow into something like it is now. We're so excited to show you more. So I'm going to take you in and show you a video, and you're going to learn a little bit more about what we do, and then you'll come and see the Paua farm, and then yeah, I'll answer your questions.
Discover the enchanting world of Arapawa Blue Pearls and Homestay, nestled in the picturesque Whekanui Bay at the entrance of Tory Channel in the Marlborough Sounds on New Zealand's stunning South Island. Mike and Antonia Radon invite you to explore their extraordinary enterprise where New Zealand abalone, or Paua, are transformed into exquisite blue pearls that capture the vibrant essence of New Zealand and the Pacific Ocean. Each Paua is meticulously hand-harvested and seeded using Arapawa Blue Pearls' trusted method, resulting in the mesmerising, ever-changing colours that make their pearls truly special. Committed to sustainability, their zero-waste policy ensures that every part of the Paua is utilised. Savour the delicious abalone meat in New Zealand's finest restaurants and admire the recycled Paua shell products. Arapawa Blue Pearls believes in supporting the local community by sourcing resources and professionals locally, minimising their environmental impact. These raw gems are then handcrafted by master jewellers into unique, personal pieces. Arapawa Blue Pearls produces some of the world's highest quality, most beautiful abalone pearls, available for purchase online or from the charming shop at the homestead. Plan your visit and tour the fascinating Arapawa Blue Pearls and Homestay. Mike's love for the sea began early. He acquired his first commercial dive boat at 15. After a diving trip to New Zealand, he decided to buy a holiday home in Aotearoa. He met Antonia in 1989 while sea urchin diving in Northern California, and they bonded over their shared passion for the sea and New Zealand. During their travels in New Zealand in 1993, they discovered Pirano Homestead for sale in Whekanui Bay. They seized the opportunity to realise their dream of starting their own abalone farm in the beautiful Marlborough Sounds. They took the plunge, purchased the homestead, and moved to one of New Zealand's most picturesque bays. In 2001, they began Paua farming and pearl cultivation with just 4 tanks. Today, they have over 350 tanks, growing pearls from wild abalone, hand-harvested from the rocky shores of the Cook Strait in the blue Pacific. Experience the journey of these magnificent pearls from the blue waters of the Cook Strait to the growing tanks on the farm. Mike's specially designed tanks replicate the natural turbulent ocean flow, with seaweed and bull kelp from the Cook Strait providing nourishment. Unwanted material is washed away, while pure ocean water flows in. Pearling involves inserting the desired shape of the finished pearl between the shell and the abalone's soft flesh. Paua are haemophiliacs and bleed easily, so great care is taken, including placing them in warm water for easy insertion of the pearling material. The pearls grow quickly in these perfect conditions and are ready to be harvested after 4 years. Mike and Antonia are committed to using as much of the abalone as possible, keeping waste close to zero. The pearls are carefully removed from the shell and the pearling material is recovered for reuse. After meticulous cleaning, the raw pearls are ready to be crafted into jewellery. Arapawa Blue Pearls are locally crafted to enhance each pearl's distinct colour. Whether made into earrings, rings, or necklaces, this local craftsmanship ensures the highest quality. Visit Arapawa Blue Pearls and experience one of New Zealand's most beautiful bays. Enjoy homemade treats and breathtaking views before exploring the Paua pearl production that makes Arapawa Blue Pearls one of the sea's most beautiful treasures. Paua pearls only grow in New Zealand, and only a few make it to the market worldwide. With their size, wonderful lustre, smoothness and vibrant colours, Arapawa Blue Pearls offer a special exclusiveness and rarity that can only be found in New Zealand. Extend your stay and immerse yourself in the serene Arapawa lifestyle with its stunning sea views and tranquil beaches. Choose from 3 cozy accommodation options: the beach house, the old school, and Gunya holiday home on Arapawa Island. Soak in the views, let nature envelop you, and refresh your soul. Whether you choose one or book all 3 for a family getaway, you're sure to find the perfect spot. Enjoy island life, embrace the sea on the private beach with swimming and fishing, or get out and about for an adventure around the farm with walking or mountain biking. Simply enjoy the Pearl Tour, then put your feet up and relish the views. New Zealand Paua have the world's most beautiful shells, with colours ranging from blues and greens to golden pinks and violets. Their distinctive colours make them the only pure New Zealand Arapawa Blue Pearls.
We put these pearls in. We start with these inserts that we put into the shell, and they're basically a mold. And then the shell builds over that mold. And we found over time that most of the people used to grow them for 1.5 to 2 years. And then we did them for 3 years. And then we realized that the longer we leave them, so now we go 4 years. So we take the Paua, and sometimes we'll grow them from babies, and we have to grow them for 4 years. And then at 4 years, 4 to 5 years old, we'll put an insert in her, and then we grow them for another 4 years. So we're 8 years into it. We had a lady come by in the mailboat one day, and she just happened to be coming through in the mailboat. She handed me her card, and she was a gemologist. And to make a long story short, we phoned her. Antonia phoned her, and she happened to be in Picton the next day, and we were going in. So we had a coffee with her, and she worked for us for like a year and a half, and she worked for a company called Paua Pearls in Australia. And anyhow, she taught us about pearls. We'd been growing them for a long time at that stage, close to 20 years, but we really didn't know that much about pearls. And she made us realize what a great thing we had going on and how rare these pearls were. The color blue is the rarest pearl. She also made us realize that we're probably growing some of the rarest pearls in the world here on this farm. For instance, Australia grows about 3.5 tons of pearls a year. Japan grows 13.2 tons of pearls a year, and we grow less than a kilo here. So she made us realize that, well, I could say we're probably growing some of the rarest pearls in the world here on this farm. So send you off to Jacob, and Jacob will show you through the rest of the farm, and enjoy.
Sweet. Now you can follow me into the Paua farm. So here we've got a couple of live Paua to show you. If there was any confusion before, Paua are not mussels, they're not oysters, they're not scallops. They are in fact living single-shelled creatures that are basically an ancient kind of sea snail. Their basic biology has not changed in the last 200 million years. You can see that they have a rather round, oval type of shell rather than your classic circular or spiral-shaped snail shell to them. So Paua are just another species of abalone, and abalone are found all around the world, from the western coast of North America, from Alaska down to northern Mexico, through the English Channel, coast of South Africa, China, Japan, New Zealand, and Australia. But the New Zealand species is unique for the colors that you see in the shell here. These colors are not found in any other species of abalone. Most of them are gray, white, or pink in color, whereas these ones have a lot more blues and indigos and greens to them, which is a really fantastic and unique sight to really see that it's a naturally growing gemstone of the ocean. They've got all these colors is not really understood. The best guess is that at some point there was some sort of mutation. It was from one Paua and it was passed on to all of its offspring. There was a massive reduction in the gene pool, and now all of them have these colors because there's no benefit for their survival, for camouflage, or for breeding as to why they've got these colors. At the end of the day, it's just one of those happy little accidents of biology. All the tools we use around Paua are quite blunt on the edges so that we don't cut them while we're handling them. Paua are hemophiliacs, so they've never developed a clotting agent in their blood, and so will bleed out if cut too deeply. One of the things that we try not to do is handle them really too often for that reason. On top of that, they are stress sensitive. Me handling these guys right now means that they'll go about a day without eating, whereas if I handle them every day for, say, a week, then they would become so overwhelmed with the stress of being handled so often that they would have a panic attack and starve themselves to death. That can take about a month to happen, is really sad, so we do our best to treat them with gentle hands. Primarily, their main predators are starfish and octopus, as well as crayfish. They generally are attacked by those because they are quite a delicacy even in the water, same with humans. And starfish will chase them along the rocks trying to touch them, which will inject them with a kind of venom that paralyzes them, make them very easy to eat. And one of the ways they actually are able to protect themselves is that they will crawl along a rock and release themselves from that rock to drift along with the waves until they fall upside down like now. And then they'll be able to flip their bodies around to protect themselves from being bitten there. So they kind of make a bit of a leap of faith to try to run away from predators. When it comes to how they eat, they are mainly herbivores, so they go after sort of algae and seaweed is primarily where they get most of their nutrients from, but they are also opportunistic carnivores. So if a fish dies nearby them, they will scavenge away and eat away at the fish's flesh. But also, if one of the Paua dies inside one of the tanks and we don't get to that dead Paua in a couple of days, we will find an empty shell because they will cannibalize their own dead due to the high protein need of their diet. As they originally start out the size of a grain of sand when they're larvae, to the size of my pinky fingernail at 1 year old, to this size in 4 years. So it's a really fast growth rate. So they need a huge amount of nutrients or food for their size to grow so fast. You can see that the shells have got this line of holes. Those are there for them to be able to breathe through. It's where their gills and their gonads are located. So those are the sex organs. There are males and females with Paua. You can tell the difference between the two because of the gut color, because you're able to peel back the flesh to see the color of the guts, and males have got white guts, while females have got green guts. When we want to coax Paua to breed in our tanks, we go diving for about 5 males and 5 females in the wild and bring them in when their gonads are inflamed with sperm and eggs and put them into 2 separate tanks. Once we've done that, we add hydrogen peroxide to the water, which super oxygenizes it and makes them be like this big storm going on. Lots of rain, lots of swell, and it increases the oxygen content in the water when the storm's happening. When that happens, then hopefully that sends a little stress signal in their brain, causing them to want to breed, because Paua have evolved to understand that after one big storm is usually a period of settled weather. So we'll drain out that water solution after they've been there for a couple hours, then add new water to it, and they think the storm's over. Hopefully one male will start to shoot off sperm from its holes, and one female to shoot off eggs from their holes, which will release a pheromone in the water, causing all the others want to breed at the same time. And we're able to siphon out the sperm and eggs, mixing it all together, putting it into one of our tanks where the larvae will hatch. Then 2 weeks later, they're ready to settle, and that's when we put them into a big bathtub tanks over here. While they're larvae still, we put them into these tanks to settle. While they're still in such a small state, we feed them diatoms that we grow in these tanks, little planktons that fit in their small mouths, and also grind up real high protein fish meal pellets to get an extra boost to their diet. We start off putting about roughly 250,000 larvae in here, and it's very much a touch or go situation where we can end up with anything from tens of thousands of baby Paua after a year to only a couple hundred. So there's a lot of little things we can't control about their environment, but we try to look after them the best we can, and it is a lot of micromanagement to try and create a real sustainable and comfortable environment for them in these tanks. So over here we got some baby Paua that we're growing for reseeding projects that we operate around the country. We've done projects up in Auckland, over in Kaikoura, over in the Chatham Islands, and even the Cook Strait area out here. These projects we've been working on with commercial divers primarily and quota owners to try and restock depleted beds of Paua to help grow the wild biomass so that there is a sustainable future not only for the fisheries but for everyone to be able to get a nice feed out if they go for a dive, or to be able to fulfill the customary permits and other such reasons, to primarily make sure there's a sustainable population for not only decades, but hopefully centuries to come. My family is very much connected to Paua in an extremely important way, where we would not be where we are today without Paua and abalone as a species. So it is important to us to make sure that we protect the species for future generations. It's a really satisfying feeling at the end of the day that we have been able to grow so many of these babies to not only help out the wild population in the local and national area, but that we are able to grow these pearls without having too much of an impact on the environment and not having to rely solely on the wild resources, and can just grow them all the way from babies and give them a very stable and stress-free life up until we do our harvest. In these tanks here are where the Paua live for the next 4 to 8 years. The buckets help to stimulate that water movement that they need to be able to thrive properly in these tanks. Not only rushing oxygenated water past the gills, but also self-cleaning the tanks with that turbulent flow. It's the same thing that they would expect in the ocean, and it's important for their bodies to be able to grow properly and to remain less stressed. Because fish, they constantly swim to rush oxygenated water past their gills, but Paua can't do that. So in the wild, they live in places where they can expect that flow from either swell, currents, or tides. So the bucket design is really basic. It's just a gravity feed of water from one tank to another. And my dad came up with that back when he was at a kiddie pool down in Camden Springs, and saw the design there and thought that would work perfect for the first couple of tanks he'd only built. He only had 4 at the time, and came back home, just saw the materials he had lying around, an old plastic paint bucket, the PVC pipe, built a little stand, cut a lead weight in half, and the basic design has not changed much in the last 20 odd years we've been using it, outside of making a more streamlined template design, so every bucket is the same. What you'll have noticed with most of the Paua so far is that they're really blue. That blue color comes from the fact that they do not get any sunlight being inside the sheds here. But in the wild, that also happens where Paua populations live in total darkness and deep dark caves. Yet most Paua don't live in total darkness because there's not a huge amount of food in there generally. Instead, they live out in the sunshine, and that blue color fades because of sunlight. So Paua actually changes color of the shells to reflect the dominant colors in their environment. And you can see the difference even here with the Paua that are in the doorway getting a little bit of sunlight versus all the others. Actually a darker color reflecting the dark colors of the tanks. Well, now that we've done all that, in summary, it takes about 8 years for us to grow the pearls inside the Paua. So we breed the Paua here, grow them for 4 years before we put the pearls in, and it takes another 4 years for those pearls to develop. At 8 years old, that's when we harvest the Paua and sell the meat to restaurants. We sell the guts to fishermen, and we sell the rest of the Paua shell to be made into cool souvenir objects before we process that final bit of shell into the pearl that you see in the shops and in other jewelry. At that point, then we have a local jeweler make the jewelry for us, and so it's all locally done, and we control the entire quality process throughout it. That's why we have a lifetime guarantee for our jewelry, and we would never sell a piece of jewelry that does not meet up to our high standards for quality. And over the shop here is where we've got the final product.
So you have just seen the amazing Paua farm with Jacob. Now I'm going to invite you in to see our shop. Come. I'm so excited to show you all these beautiful pieces of jewelry that have taken years to grow. So here we have on display for you beautiful gold jewelry. We have rose gold and even white gold, and the yellow gold as well. Now, I'm not sure if you love gorgeous teardrops, but some of the most unique pieces are teardrop pieces of jewelry. There's the blue hues in a lot of these, but not everything is blue. We have to show you something very special. Now come over here. The gorgeous pearls here. Now this is the very rare pearls. Now not everybody has seen a gem pearl, but this is the ultimate pearl, is where there is high luster and the colors not always are blue, but it's the crisp luster, and the surface quality is actually pristine, very smooth, and they are gems. These are very special, and we have the A grades down to B1, B2, C1 are most popular, C2 and C3. The other shapes have the oval, and then we've got the teardrops. These are the teardrops. We have a large size, a medium, and a small. The small are perfect for earrings. A lot of work goes into those teardrops. So I have something also I really want to show you. The teardrop earrings. Here we go. There. Can you see those? I'm not sure, but we can show you. The saturation of the blue is not always enhanced quite strong, so it's quite a weaker color. So it has special elements that actually spark. You don't always have to have that really strong color to make them perfect. I particularly, a lot of people ask me what my favorite color is, and I must say I'm a fan of blue and green, but honestly all the colors have something very spectacular about them, and I'm all for keeping things simple, and that comes with our design. Our designs are based on something simple, so the pearl is enhanced by them. So a lot of our designs don't have a lot of diamonds or CZs. They're just simple, and we find that the best way of each individual design is just like this. A lot of people like the white. If you are a fan of white, it actually looks beautiful with the oyster shell. This one here. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. The hue of the blue is not so strong, but this is a beautiful color when it's matched with white. I hope you agree. Then we have earrings. Now, earrings, when we put earring sets together, they don't always have to match. What we do is, when it's a rainy day, it's the perfect time to do our earring set. So we'll get the pearls out, lay them out, and the colors really more vibrant, and the saturation of the colors are really seen on a day when it's less bright. The harshness of the sun isn't the best way to see the colors. And we grab harvests, pearls from other harvests from last year, this year, and when you put two pearls together, they match. And they don't have to actually match exactly, but as long as the surface is fairly similar to the other one, it's the perfect way to have an earring set. So at the beginning of the year, you wouldn't believe it, I came up with this great idea about birth pearls. So you might know about birth stones. Well, they each month of the year resembles a colour, and you've got to check these out. So one of the birth pearl, this is what we call aqua colour, and it is a March birth pearl. The very beautiful strong hues of an August one is, you have this beautiful pink rich colour. So we've got this one as a blush pearl. It's very strong pinks in this one. So that's an August. So if you're an August girl, then you might like these colours. But this one's a little bit different. This is a November, and we've called this a sunset pearl, and there's actually no blue. Look at that, and it is gold. This is one of the very, very rare birth colours in the pearling industry. And I'm so thrilled to be able to show you these, because we don't see these type of pearls very often. So this is very special. So I will show you one more, and it's lavender. If you are a lavender person and your birthday is in February, check out these stunning tiny pearls. And these are like a 6 mil, and they are basically lavender colour, which is like a purple colour. What is your favourite colour? You'll have to let me know one day. We have lots of people that want to see other things that we have on the farm. One of the things is our accommodations. So basically we have 2 accommodations available. We have Gunya, that is one of our houses that is up the hill. We have the beach house. The beach house sleeps at least 12 people. We have a sleep out as well, but the best part is we do couples rates. Couples can come here, they can come on a mail boat or a water taxi. But if you come on the mail boat, it's on a Tuesday or a Friday, and you can come here, spend the weekend, and you can do the Paua Pearl tour, or you can go for a dive where, of course, it's like a big swimming pool. And then you actually can go for lovely walks. There's scenery, place, it's very scenic when you go up the top of our farm. You can see all the way to Mount Egmont, which is on the North Island, believe it or not. Other things we have a lot of people do is they'll go fishing. Fishing is like the best part because you can actually catch your dinner at the end of our wharf, especially early in the morning or in the evening is a great time to go fishing. So if you're into fishing, yes, this is the spot to be. When we arrived here, we found out that the Pirano family had been here for over 80 years. And they were the pioneers of the whaling era. And during that time, they had a school here. And that school was used for all the children that would walk from the whaling station all around to Whekanui Bay. The children, probably wasn't a very fun time for them because it was whaling, it was cold, but they still had to do school, right? And they had many teachers, apparently. They had like 3 or 4 teachers. They all would stay here and do their schoolwork, and up to one time there was up to 30 kids in the school. Now we've remodeled it, we've brought it back to life. It's one of our amazing school cottage and we use it for accommodation. It sleeps up to 6 people and it's got lots of character to it. The toilets are still the original toilets and they're actually girls and a boys toilet, so they're kind of small and short. One of the highlights when the kids were at school here was seeing the eels. They got to write stories about the eels. There was probably many situations when they fed the eels and they'd probably rather do that than go to school, right? So why don't we head over to see the eels, because you know what? They're still here. I've just taken out of the freezer the guts of the Paua. Now, we are ready to feed the eels. Are you ready to watch something amazing? Because they do love Paua guts. Now we're just going to move it around a little bit because it's actually frozen but quickly dethaws. Look at some action coming, there you go. Oh, you're pretty, look at you, you're a little guy. Oh, here you go. Look at you. Oh God, he's fast. Oh my God. You don't want to get your fingers caught in their mouths because actually they're very, very, very sharp. Yeah, woo-hoo. They're very hard to hold. There we go. New Zealand sea snakes in action. Thank you so much for taking the time today and coming to see our unique farm. It means a lot to us when somebody like you can see the insides about what we do here. There's so much that I haven't been able to tell you, but when people come here, they have no idea what happens. And Mike and I believe that the future we could teach you here and doing what our job here feels like we've only just started, and there's something very special that we would love to share with you, and the only way we can do that is with your help. And if you have the knowledge of what we do, it makes it all worthwhile, because it's something that we're very passionate about, and I have no doubt that you will have learnt something today. So thanks so much.